I'm John Shropshire, so I'm chairman of GES. I'm also chairman of Fenland SOIL. Well, the fens are a great productive source of food, but they're also a haven for nature, biodiversity, and they are, on the other side of the coin, emitting quite a lot of carbon dioxide as the peat degrades. So this is becoming a massive issue. The country's aiming for net zero by 2050. We need to find a solution to this. We need to mitigate these emissions, and that's how Fenland SOIL initially got going. It's about a couple of years ago, and the aim is to be able to keep farming, to keep producing this wonderful fresh produce and food from the fens, but also reduce the amount of CO2 coming out of it. It is 7% of the UK's food, but on only about 3% of the acreage. But more importantly, probably in terms of fresh produce, it's 33% of the UK's fresh produce. But if you take in the other peatlands, lowland peatlands in the country, up in Lancashire, for example, North Lincolnshire and so on, then you're probably getting towards over 50% of the UK's fresh produce. Salads and vegetables are produced on these types of soils.
Some big numbers there.
Yeah, and if we don't produce them in the soil on that land, you know, we take it out of the fens into other areas where we might need more fertiliser, more irrigation, the environmental impacts are significant, and then worse still if we take it abroad and we offshore it, and we're just actually pushing those emissions elsewhere. It's actually to bring together the different opinions and minds and the learning, because actually it's not, what we've found out actually is that there's still a lot more to find out. You know, this is not a precise issue yet. We don't really know exactly what to do. So I think what we are, though, learning is that there's a potential for a mosaic of different solutions on different soil types, on different farms and different areas, and I think it's actually bringing together all the scientists. We've got scientists from around the world here, but also the farmers, and get the networking, getting people talk about it, and get some enthusiasm for the subject. No question. There's a willingness. I think there's going to be financial implications. You know, farming. It's a business at the end of the day. To survive and prosper, you've got to make a profit. So they're going to be led by the money to an extent, and the government's got a major role to play in that. But we just had a talk about carbon offsets and the potential for earning money for reducing the carbon emissions in the fens. You know, that's a real possibility, and there are other biodiversity gains that. Through elms that could be a financial source for farmers. So I think there will be opportunities for this, to be financially beneficial, as well as a benefit for the environment, and particularly biodiversity as well. I think a unified approach, is obviously beneficial, and that's one of the things we're trying to achieve with Fenland SOIL. It's about getting farmers to be working together and learning from each other, and we've had some great events. This is not, we've got the conference now, and that's a great event, but we've had some really good evenings where we've had lectures and talks and got people together, and we've had farm walks already in the summer, and there will be more of those. Every speaker that we've had has had a different sort of angle, and it's so different that I wouldn't really like to pick anybody out. I think it was quite reassuring from Robert Caldwell actually yesterday that he had a clear directive from government with the Lowland Peat Task Force, clear directive that we're going to keep producing food. And I think that's reassuring for farmers because, at the end of the day, I went into the business to produce food, and care for the countryside, of course. But actually, I'm a farmer and we want to produce food. So that was reassuring, and he set the scene, I thought, very well yesterday morning.